Item creation is essential to creating tests in SARAS. It is important to understand how each item type may be used to present a particular test question in the manner you prefer. With so many item types to choose from, it may seem a little daunting, but all the question types share a similar format. In this video, we will walk you through certain specifics that are generally the same for each item type. This way, when we explore the differences between each item type, we will have a solid foundation. If you haven't already, we suggest watching the SARAS Basics video on item creation before following along here. From the SARAS dashboard, hover over Content Management and then click on Manage Item. Select the folder on the left in which you would like your item to be created and click Add to get started. I'm going to select Multiple Choice Static item type since it is one we are all probably most familiar with. This item type asks a question and presents a set of optional responses. You will designate one of these options to be the right answer. While the multiple choice static item type is being used as an example now, details about this particular item type will be saved for a later video. Instead, some general fields and options that are essentially universal for every item type will be focused on. Every question type will start with the Item Details section, expanded by default. At the top we see two fields, Item Code and Item Label. These fields are marked with a red asterisk and are required to be filled in for each question type. Remember the difference between Item Code and Item Label from the SARAS Basics item creation video. Multiple questions may share the same item label, but each question must have its own unique item code that cannot be repeated. Next is the Item Stem field. This field is where you will record text, images, hyperlinks, audio, and other content you would like to appear visible in the test question of the item. The buttons in the menu above the field allow you to fill the field with the different types of content. It essentially works like a miniature word processor that allows you to add media content as well. You also can change the font, style, and size of your text. These first 5 buttons are basic cut, copy, and paste options, just like you would find in any word processor. This section allows you to bold, italicize, and underline, in addition to creating strike-throughs, subscripts, and superscripts. This section allows you to make numbered lists or lists with bullet points. The following 2 buttons allow you to increase or decrease the indent of a line of text. This button that looks like a giant quotation mark allows you to create block quotes or quotes that stand outside of the rest of the text. These buttons here will allow you to change the alignment of the text in the field. If you want to write in the text field from right to left instead of left to right, you would change that by clicking on this button. Or you can change it back by clicking on this button. Highlighting a piece of text in the text field and then clicking on this link button will allow you to turn that text into a hyperlink. The next button of a link with an X in it will allow you to turn the hyperlinks back into regular text. The flag button allows you to create an HTML anchor to bookmark a certain page in a hyperlink. Here on the second row, this first section allows you to insert specific objects like an image or a table. The first button allows you to insert an image. When you click the button, it will open up a dialog box like this. You may paste the URL of your image into the URL box or search for an existing image that has been uploaded as a digital asset by clicking on Browse Repository. The following fields in the dialog box allow you to adjust the size of the image. This next button has nothing to do with Facebook. It is used to insert a Flash object. Clicking it opens a dialog box similar to inserting an image. You would paste the URL of your object into the URL field here as well. The remaining buttons in this section allow you to insert tables, lines, emoticons, symbols, and equations, respectively. You should recognize these boxes from a word processor. These buttons allow you to change the way the text appears in the field, including style, format, font, size, and color. The Maximize button simply moves the item stem field to the top of the page and spreads the buttons out a little more. Finally, the last section allows you to insert videos and other digital assets you have previously uploaded to Saurus. If you want to add a video to your test question, click on the button with the movie slate icon on it. This opens up a dialog box where you can put the URL for the image you want to use as the hyperlink for your video. You may also select an image from your previously uploaded digital assets by clicking the Browse Repository button. You will paste the URL of your video in the Source Video field. You may also adjust the size of the window in which your video will appear. Click OK and your video will be added to your question. The last two buttons are advanced equation editors that are dependent upon a subscription being purchased, and they may or may not be available at your location. By using all of these tools, you have many ways to craft your test questions and make them look the way you want them to. The choice details section of a question will look different for every question type, but in general, you will always record a set of options for the student to select from and then designate which response or responses are correct. You can also assign point values to each response. Every item allows you to give feedback for that question. This feedback being visible to the student taking the test is dependent upon how the test preferences are set up when creating the test. The item preferences are required for each item you create. This section contains two fields, one for complexity and one for classification. The complexity is a subjective determination of how difficult the question is, ranging from very easy to very difficult. The classification is used to categorize the item you have created in one of Bloom's 7 taxonomy levels. These fields are required for each item and are used to classify each question type. This will be useful when creating test blueprints, which will be covered in a future video. Item hints, much like feedback, is an optional section of your question where you may provide hints to the student on how to answer the question. Once again, these hints may or may not be visible in the test depending on the preferences set up during test creation. The custom metadata section is used to further classify and categorize your question, like the item preferences of complexity and classification. However, these fields are not required. Scrolling back to the top, you will see the passage details section. While these fields are not required, they are a valuable tool to creating certain types of questions. A passage is a body of text, media object, equation, or other asset that exists independent of a particular item and therefore may be attached to multiple test questions. For example, if you're creating a reading comprehension test and you have multiple questions referring to the same article, you may create that article as a passage and link the passage to each question regarding that article. It will then appear as a part of the test question for each of those questions. This may also be used to provide an equation for a specific set of math questions without having to rewrite the equation in each question. In the passage details section, you may type in the passage code or passage label, or you may click the Select Passage link in order to select a previously created passage. If you would like to create a new passage, click the Add Passage link. This opens a rich text editor similar to the item stem, where you may craft your passage and then save it to Saurus to also be used in future questions as well. This review of the particular sections and tools you will be using during item creation is meant to provide you a foundation on which to understand how items are created. As you move forward exploring the many different item types, we hope this foundation will help you see the differences between item types so you can choose the best option for the question you want to make. Have fun creating your own items.